Hello, Orville Nation. Hello, Lord Thothman, Ryan Folkenstall, Captain Trek, Live Shack, Edie Myers, Celine, Time Prophet. Everyone, welcome. Guys, we have an amazing show. We have, of course, Joseph, and we have Anthony, and meteorologist Katie, Nina Infinity, and Dr. ADEGA. So here we go, guys. Hello, Katie.
Hello.
Good to see you, my friend.
Same here. I am already seeing the chat just flying by on the right-hand side, so that is awesome.
Yeah, they're psyched for today. What an amazing episode this week, huh?
There was a point where I just stopped. I had to pause it and rewind it, and I was laughing so hard. I knew if I didn't stop it, I would miss the next minute and a half. I really enjoyed this episode.
Awesome. Yeah, we all did. I think it's going to become a classic in sci-fi, this episode. Okay. We see backstage people are popping in, and Anthony's popping in backstage. So let's bring in the rest of the crew. Katie, real quick, what's new on so many fandoms?
Wednesday, we're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, myself and Brandy on Order of the Blue Lotus, and eventually something else is going to pop up. We are in the middle of sweeps, so we have no time in work right now. So something will pop up here.
All righty. And I want to bring in our other lovely lady, Nina Infinity. Welcome, Nina.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. I'm just going to quickly promote one thing that's happening on my channel this Wednesday at 10 Eastern. It's going to be an epic Infinite Talk with John Talks and Gary from Nerdrotic. So I made the link. If you guys like Gary and if you like us, go there and set your reminders for that live stream. It's going to be epic. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. And this episode was amazing.
Awesome. Don't forget to the Nerdrotic and John on Nina's channel. Wow. Can you both go ahead and put in your channels? And
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I'm going to welcome Dr. ADEGA. Hello, Dr. ADEGA. How are you?
Hello.
Bring it up. Bring it up. Do it. Do it. Do it.
She's causing trouble. Running amok.
Oh, he's cute. Wow.
Not very cute.
So cute.
No, she's in trouble right now. So I'm going to turn the mic off for a second while we take care of that.
Oh.
I am going to introduce Baron Destructo himself, the creator of this wonderful episode we all enjoyed this week. Welcome, Joseph Mallozzi. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Hello. How's everybody?
Oh, gosh. Doing great.
I'm doing good, Joe. And you look good today.
Ah, you're
Very
too
fancy.
kind. I
Very
need a haircut, but yeah. Looking forward to today because, as I said, there were two fan favorite episodes of the season, 1 and 2, and one is this one. You'll have to wait till episode 9 to see the second one.
Okay.
But it was a lot of fun. I'll talk about sort of how the episode came about and everything. But first, I would like to introduce or reintroduce our special guest star here today, the lovely and talented Anthony LEMKE.
Woo!
Yay!
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. I think my internet might be a bit spotty, so.
It's all good.
You're okay right now?
No, he's wrong.
Nope, he just broke.
So, there
You
you
got
go.
in one sentence. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say that this
Thanks for having me,
episode.
guys.
Yep. Well, I mean, you didn't really, as you pointed out, insult anybody too gravely on the last go around. So you're like, yeah, we can have him back.
That's hilarious.
You were saying, Joe?
Oh yeah, I just the way this episode came about. I knew I wanted to do a time loop episode, but we tried to break it in the room and we got nowhere. We just kind of kept on spinning our wheels, and so I just set it aside and I said, I'll figure it out. And as deadline loomed, I actually sat down and was like, okay, I got to start this. I started in the morning, and I pretty much wrote the entire script in a day, which is like I've never done this before. But I think it's kind of interesting in that, the number one fan favorite episode of Stargate. Stargate was Window of Opportunity, which was a time loop episode. And the #1 favorite episode of Dark Matter turned out to be a time loop episode. I feel as though I've kind of bookended my career with time loop episodes.
This was a good one. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And like in the Stargate episode where O'Neill and Teal'c are the ones who are caught in the loop, I was like, who would be the character least equipped to deal with being caught in the time loop? And it was 3.
Yeah.
This episode had a vibe to it and like a cadence to it. I'm like, yeah, I can see that this was written in a day. Definitely. Like this has the chaotic energy just oozing out of it.
Very funny. Very funny. That's nice.
The entire chat is just one big fangirl at the moment.
It's true.
Thank you, Anna. Yes, permission.
It was crazy too, because I ended up reviewing like 24 time loop episodes of various sci-fi shows, in addition to a bunch of time loop movies, in order to sort of refine the formula and then kind of upend it. Like sort of, for instance, in most time loop episodes, you start looping and you're with our character as he's kind of going through it. But, I had never seen a time loop episode where you're actually kind of dropped in the middle of our weary character having to deal with a time loop. And, thank you to the comedic timing of this man over here, Anthony Lemke. But I have to say, like Zoe was terrific as always as the android, and kind of an unsung MVP of comedy in this episode for me was Melissa O'Neill. Like that, the scene where you're first being checked out, and she's like, "Oh, you had me going," and she walks off, and you're like, "You're gonna do this and that, and you're gonna find a fingernail in that soup you picked up a bowl of 9." And she's like, "I better not, or I'm gonna know who's responsible." But from start to finish, just a really fun episode to shoot and to watch as well.
It was really fun, and what I actually forgot, like kind of like the ending, because it's my second time watching the show, and so like when we got there, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in a bit, but like I totally forgot that ending where she goes into the future and everything. So I was like thinking to myself, like, so if you had gotten like a Dark Matter season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe we would have made it into like the future and seeing like how that reality came to be, or would they change that reality, or like what would happen?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff she mentions or stuff I had planned, and I think in the case of like 3 or 4 that she mentions, they actually end up happening in, the upcoming episodes in season 3.
Well, I know like 2 or 3 of them happen, but like how she gets to like her age and how everyone's dead and everything like that, I was like, oh no.
Well, I have to say, that when I envisioned Dark Matter in my original plan was a very dark ending. And then as sort of things were kind of going on, I sort of imagined a kind of a more hopeful, fun ending. And so
there we go.
What you saw there, where basically she ends up, meeting sort of old 5, is the dark version.
Yeah, that's the dark universe.
Yes.
I would have cried, and you would have seen me cry on the stream. I would have been distraught if that's how...
Oh my goodness.
This is the Disney generation. Everything has to be nice at the end.
Right.
Anthony, was this particularly memorable to you filming this?
Yeah, it was pretty much there were some beautiful moments in there as well. So and Joe, as you may or may not know, does not have kids, and I don't know how you nailed it so perfectly, that relationship with 5, because I do have kids, and the number of times that I found myself in my head going, "Oh no, be the third try, Don't be the first or the second. Be the third try. And it's hard. And I have the reputation for being the first and second around my house. So
No.
it's hard to be the third try. But no, it was definitely the highlight. I mean, there's a number of them that are really great, but this one was tops, man. I just love comedy. It's something that not so much like sitcom stuff, but comedy within drama is the thing that I absolutely love. That sort of that vibe, that tone is, and Joe. It wasn't just this episode. Joe really allowed the character to be that throughout the entire season and all the seasons. So he morphed into a bit more of a comedic character than I think was intended in the very beginning. I mean, I don't know. Joe can answer that one, but definitely they either had that in their head and I happened to go there, or they saw that I could do it and went.
I'm really glad that there was the comedy aspect to the character, because everyone on the panel knows I was a little chilly to 3 as an understatement at the beginning. And now I'm like, yeah, okay, I like you. Don't screw up, but I like you.
and I'm guessing you're French Canadian and can actually speak French. And
we actually learned French for this episode.
You learned
Okay.
French?
No.
So he didn't.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think you learned it for this episode.
No,
you had to dumb down your French, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I had to essentially sort of dumb down my French. Although I'm not French Canadian, I grew up in an Anglophone household, but I've taken a lot of French and moved to Montreal a while back, and so yeah, it's a language that I do speak.
I'm from the West Coast too, and we don't speak French over there. So yeah.
You got to go to. Although being from Ottawa, where I'm from, there is a fair amount of French in that city. It's about 40% French, and but yeah, you got to go to places like Quebec or Montreal, where pretty much everybody is fluently bilingual. So it's it's a neat place, and that definitely by the time that's where Joe is from, by the way. So
yeah, and I thought it was really funny that your character was able to learn that really hard, the thing that you said in English over and over, and you couldn't figure it out, that mechanic thing, but you learned it in French, and they were like, "What? What did you just say?"
Yeah, totally. It was brilliant, right? Like, not only can I not learn science, but if I can not learn science and then have to do it in French, I mean, that clearly is the straw that broke the camel's back. Oh my god!
It's like, how did this dude turn into a genius all of a sudden? What's going on?
One or the other would not have been sufficient. Yeah.
No.
I have to say, I really like that moment when you convince them, and then you follow up in the infirmary. And you turn to 2, and sort of you catch her sort of like finally believing you, and you kind of go over and kind of plant one on her.
Yes.
Which,
I don't think that was in the script. I can't remember.
So,
I think that might have been.
remember that being in the script.
Yeah. Extreme exuberance and happiness. I think that might have been, So it might have surprised Melissa as well. I'm pretty sure that wasn't anything.
She looked pretty surprised. So I was actually wondering about that. I was like, wait, was this?
It was on the forehead, though, wasn't it?
Oh, that's amazing.
Of course. Yes, it has to be, right? It can't be anywhere else.
No.
It has different connotations, right?
Anywhere else, you would have been knocked out cold in 2 seconds.
Yep, that too.
Restart.
That too. Yeah.
Joe, it's unanimous amongst the fans. Best episode ever, says John Burns.
Awesome. Thank you, John Burns.
All right, that'd be John Burns.
And
It's very good.
I think it's my favorite.
Tom, you're 100% correct. That's really actually why I like the episode so much, because Joe knew that it was pretty much in all the read-throughs. It was just like bullshit. My line, that whole thing.
That's awesome.
And thank you, Jeff, because a lot of people have been asking that question.
Yes,
very
indeed.
famous
Well done.
French song, yes, by the Singing Nun.
You can Google it, and it's on YouTube. So there it is.
I could not think of a more French song, to be honest with you, and I was delighted to learn that we were able to sort of get the rights to sing it on the show, and so we were a terrific duet. I mean, we recorded it one night at the studio with Ben Pinkerton, who's our a music supervisor and composer.
That was awesome. And I'm guessing the android, God, I'm sorry, I'm spacing on her name right now. She knew how to play the ukulele by herself, or did she learn for this episode?
I don't think she actually played, and it wasn't actually a real ukulele. It was a space ukulele that Ian Brock, our production designer, found online. He was looking for like weird kind of far out instruments, and he found this space ukulele, and he asked the designer if he could feature it on the series, and the guy was like very excited. And so, in fact, I have a photo of Zoe with her space ukulele.
That's hilarious. I want to start learning to play the ukulele. That's like a short-term goal that I have for myself. I'm gonna start learning it. I live like near the beach. I figure it has to happen.
Yeah. You have to walk down to the beach and just start playing it and have as much fun as that picture shows.
Exactly.
So this was kind of a fun scene because I think you did like 3 or 4 takes, and in the last one, they were 3 hatless takes, and then you grabbed our A camera operator's hat?
Yep.
And wore it for the final take, and that's the one we used.
The hat is genius because he looks French in that. Like it's like a genius French hat.
It's like the happiest I've ever seen him. It's just so pure.
I loved it.
So the hat, for those of you who are Canadian, there is a famous artist who frequently painted I guess it would have been the 18th century, frequently painted maybe the 19th, early 19th anyway, Quebec landscapes. And the Quebec landscapes almost always featured, a habitant with a red toque. Mm-hmm. So I thought, oh man, I'll take this this painter's little nod with the red toque that's sitting there, and I'll put it on. And the spoons was also a very French Canadian thing, right? So that's the nod to the French Canadian. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Very nice.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it was. It's funny. He happened to be wearing the toque that day, so I thought, let's do it. Let's have some fun.
Now the question is, can you actually play the spoons?
That was me playing the spoons. In fact, the first gig that I ever did as like a child actor in elementary school was, I can't even remember what the play was, but I had to learn how to play the spoons. So ever since then, I've kind of remembered how to play this.
That's so cool.
That's got to be on your resume.
Can play spoons.
Yeah, put that one on my CV. I keep losing you, so if I'm ever spacing out going like this and I'm not answering your questions, it's largely because of my internet, and I'm not really sure what's going on. The internet's busted.
Maybe you're just rebooting. You're looping.
Yeah,
that's what's
going on.
You were reflecting on what's going on.
When it pauses, we all just wait with bated breath. We're like, what's he saying?
Now, Joe, did they like loot? They just like looted everything of Tabor. So because Anthony has his robe or something.
Yeah, I mean, the idea being that Tabor kind of booked it and left most of his stuff behind. So Adrian kind of took it. And so, what a perfect opportunity to have him looking very casual. And, this is, obviously Noreen Landry, our costume designer, came up with the idea, and I just thought, look at him. He looks fantastic. I also kind of love this, we had Aisha on last week, and, talking about how great kind of the energy is between Three and Solara.
She's badass.
Sure. I love her. Oh my gosh.
She's like.
Bated breath.
So that's a good thing. She can actually beat people. I was going to say, like, her big thing is that she can, like, literally just beat people up. And Three's big thing is he can get beat up and then get back up. And that's his.
Yeah.
So there it is.
I think probably one of the best. Yes, that was exactly. Yes. Oh my gosh, the amount of times that you get punched in this episode. Well, punched in this episode. I'm like, your neck must have hurt just like pretending all day.
Actually, it's interesting you should mention that, because John Stead will tell you John Stead was our fight coordinator who's been on the show. Last time I was on with him. And he will tell you that there are techniques that actors and stunt fighters can use so that their necks don't hurt when they have their necks snapped a lot. And generally speaking, it's about moving with the shoulders, not the neck. And the same thing for going back. So, but you have to sell it so it doesn't look like this, right? But generally speaking, you can't keep clocking your neck or else you're pooched.
Oh, see, I thought you were going to say I was really getting punched in the face. So
I'm not that good an actor. I really was. I don't want to say it.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Corrine Crook.
Oh, Corrine.
Yeah, Coco, who basically is just had her, I think, her appendix removed and is in the hospital. So get better soon.
Yeah, she's home now, but get
she's
better
home,
soon. She's recovering. So
We got some hardcore fans here.
Please to get better. And just think, now you'll be able to go up and wander in the far north, far away from all medical support, and not worry about your appendix bursting.
There you go.
There you go.
Lovely.
That's a plus.
I've thought of this. My appendix is
I have to say, since I missed the last week's episode, and I'm so sorry about that. I just wanted to let you know that I don't trust that dude at all. That's all I have to say.
Who?
The new dude, the Tabor's replacement.
The high center of gravity.
He's so lovable though.
He is lovable.
He's too lovable, Joe. I don't trust characters like that are like, oh, I'm so nice. Like, believe me.
It's not that I don't trust the characters, it's I don't trust Joe.
My favorite scene in the show, though, was him getting pushed against the wall at the opening part where he wakes up for another time. He's walking with his friend. Boom! I love that.
You know,
this bit.
I've been posting bloopers over the past couple of weeks, and one of the longest scenes from the blooper reel is that scene with you and Mishka, where you're trying to explain the time loop to Melissa, and it goes on for like 5 or 6 takes.
Well, there's a story behind that, though, because
Oops. No, pause the worst moment.
Wait, you said there was a story behind that?
I don't know what I have to repeat, but oh yeah, because it wasn't written exactly like that, and so we had this idea together that what we would do is we would do that whole back and forth thing, and so we practiced it off camera. But then when we got on camera, we ended up cracking. I mean, you see the bloopers. We ended up cracking up, or not getting the timing right, or not doing it. And in the end, it worked out great. And Ron, I think it was Ron who directed that episode. Is that correct?
Yes, Ron Murphy. Yes. Who wanted to be here, but he's in like Mexico or somewhere wrestling alligators. So.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. He's in my neck of the woods.
Story there somewhere, wrestling alligators. That's fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, so we pitched him this idea about, hey, could we do this thing? And he's like, yeah, let me see it. And so in the blooper reel, you can actually hear his reaction to it. He goes, no, that was great. You know, this kind of thing, right? With Ron's voice. So we did eventually get it, but yeah, it took a little time.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say I love that scene where when you stick your finger in her food.
Oh my god!
And then like just the reaction of like Melissa and the android, they're like, oh my god, like why do you want to get your ass kicked, man? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Well, what would you do if
we should have had fruit cups instead?
Oh right.
We should have.
Yeah.
Was that planned? Like, was that scripted, or did you do it yourself?
That was 100% as scripted. That scene, as I remember it. Yeah, yeah. And I think it's that simple idea of he's trying to get himself knocked out, or that plus that idea of like if you had literally had absolutely zero consequences for any of your actions, that's what you do, right? So. That's what he would do. He would steal other people's food. That's it. I'm gonna rob a bank. What's the point? I'm not gonna keep the money anyway.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that another one, a really great scene is you and Mishka in bed, where you're trying to sort of keep him up.
Yes.
And
yes. That was
You're
fun.
just
That was a lot of
skipping
fun.
ahead the conversation. You're just talking and talking and talking. He's obviously exhausted. You have to keep waking it up.
The funniest part of that was actually, well, it happened twice, I think, in this episode where he's like, well, you could have just picked 5, and he's like, no, you're the weakling, right? And then the other time, he's like, what about me? And 2 is like, you got to stay on the ship, and he's like, what about her? And she's like, she'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. All the guys in the shows are yutzes, like me, like 5, 3, and Misha, and whatever. No, it's great. It was fun. It's great.
Oh, that's good. It's good stuff.
You guys hear the piano in the background?
No, who's
No.
playing?
Okay. It's piano lesson time at our house here today.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Must be nice to know how to play the piano.
I guess that's why we force our kids to do it.
There you go.
My wife does, though, so there it is. At least one of the parents knows how to play the piano, so we're not forcing them to do things we haven't done.
Now, the costumes in this episode,
Bye, Karine.
they look comfortable. All by Karine.
Mm-hmm.
I would wear these outfits. That's one of my big pet peeves with sci-fi shows. It's like most of the time the outfits don't look comfortable. This entire show, you look like you're just comfy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, well, I spent the whole show in a t-shirt, so pretty much, yeah. Super comfy. Yeah. Although there's that, Solara's wearing that cool thing that seems to only go over
Yeah.
That's
I like that.
Is that a completely fashion piece, or did you actually find that somewhere?
No, she actually built that costume for her, and when the show ended, I ended up picking it up and actually giving it to her.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't hear most of that, but I'm sure it was scintillating.
John Byrne says, another time loop episode that I wrote. I love how in the SG-1 time loop, Daniel Jackson mentions no consequences for actions, but Marcus Boom figured that all out on his own, which is true. I basically in the SG-1 episode, you go through the whole rigmarole, and then Daniel mentions, you face no repercussions. Then we do kind of the fun stuff with O'Neill, riding his bicycle through, doing the pottery, dipping Carter for the kiss. Whereas basically you just cut to the chase. You're already there.
I'm already there. Yeah. Which was fun, man. It was really cool. It was a really great version of that time loop stuff. So
At the beginning, I thought that you were gonna go the route of his girlfriend, like his, how like the consciousness is in the ship now, like how like maybe she's doing something weird so that he comes to see her because he kept like resisting to go see her or whatever, so that she can be like, yeah, I can I can help you out of this loop, and as long as we get it on or something. But you didn't go that route. You went somewhere else.
Anthony, we were all being goofy and we were starting to eat, just to see if you noticed.
Gosh, what's so great is I did notice you guys eating, but I didn't think it was an homage. But there it is. She's eating like while you're having dinner. That's great. It's dinner time.
Brownie.
I love it. That
The most
is
obvious I could
absolutely
get.
awesome.
I got this. I got a thing, a kettle corn. I was like, I'm ready.
You guys
to
are
go.
the best. This is something else.
I got coffee. That's all I got.
I just ingested 1,000 calories for you.
You're not even there yet. You got to keep going on that one.
Yeah.
You're on take
Big
3. I
chocolate
think there's about
strawberries.
7 more takes.
I'm not gonna sleep.
Someone in chat asked how many iterations did it take for 3 to learn French? I would say a lot. I mean, he was fluent, so he must have been looping
A lot.
a lot.
Listen,
Yes.
if you believe Duolingo, maybe about 2 weeks.
What,
Yeah.
really? No way.
No
Joking, I'm
way.
joking.
No
I'm
way.
joking.
I guess 24 hours a day.
I would say more like 6 months to like become like that fluent.
I don't know. A lot more than that. A heck of a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. How long does it take to learn a whole new language? Boy, yeah.
A long
thank
time.
you. Thank you very much, Sound Engraver.
I think the key with language is going doctor on you guys. You can do it in 3-4 months or 3-4 weeks. It's just that the quicker you start thinking in the language, the easier it gets. And the people who can catch on to that faster, even if they're not good at the language, it accelerates. So I've seen people as quickly as 3 weeks being able to do pretty fluent.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
I wish I could do that. I need to learn Spanish. I live here. Oh.
Yeah, we got to talk when you learn Spanish, Nina.
Yeah, for sure.
I also want to mention the special guest stars, Natalie Brown, who plays Sarah. So Anthony, you knew her before we landed her on the show, and yet you were very excited that we ended up that she was the one we cast. So, like, had you worked with her before?
Yeah, a whole bunch here in Montreal, actually. She there was a period of time where it kind of felt like every shoot that I was on, she was on, and we had played in a relationship prior to that as well. We played a whole bunch of stuff. So, plus she was on the English version of the French show that I was on, a show called Sophie. I played Sophie's boyfriend, and in the English version, she was Sophie. So we knew the French version was the original version, and we knew each other very well, and we had this sort of similar revolving life, and I was very, very happy to be shooting with her. She's just a neat person, great actress, super comfortable doing all that romantic smoochy stuff, and it's not always that way, but with her, you can feel it, and yet it's just so clear and simple because we're friends. And no, it's good. Yeah, it was great. Very happy that she got cast. So
yeah, she's terrific. And,
and
the other
she really is.
And the other guest star was Michael Reventar, who plays Ash, the assassin. And he's also a really gifted actor, but also super humble, really nice guy, who got to throw you guys all up and down the Raza corridors this episode.
So, question about that assassin: when they take off his phasing clothes and stuff, they leave the underwear. So, how does his underwear phase with him? Why?
Well, I mean,
was the underwear still on, Joe?
Clearly,
how does it phase without the tech?
No, the tech is implanted in him. So essentially, the clothing is essentially built to phase with him. So it's not. So I mean, if not, then every time he phased, he would leave his underwear behind.
Right.
Just the underwear. The shirt phases, the pants phased.
Which I have to hand it to you too. A big thing about that, and I still love it, is when you hear, you see shows where they go through walls or phase or this, that, the other. It's always two-dimensional. You had them go straight down. I'm going, yes, someone who gets it.
Yeah, that was cool when he went through the floor.
Those assassins' abs are now edged into the ship forever.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, they are.
That's true. It was a total Han Solo moment there with in the wall.
Exactly.
I can see too using his hand as like a coat hanger now for a leather jacket.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, Han Solo moment.
Oh my gosh.
Although, I can't remember, did we play that? Did we play that they were there in the ship in subsequent episodes? His abs? Did we ever walk by?
I'm not going to reveal that until we get there.
I can't remember. We must have, but I just can't remember.
Yes. It certainly isn't something that, it's funny because after the episode ended, someone was like, so he's stuck in that corridor. You can't, is it just going to be one of those situations where basically they never, reference it again? And then you'll see in an episode down the line that, in fact, it is referenced again. Nothing is forgotten.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
Because I can't remember us referencing that. So there it is, which is not all that surprising. There it is. Too many concussions as a kid, huh?
Maybe.
Oh, I feel that.
The dinner table. This dinner table was so great. Not the table itself, but the scenes that we played around it. Very like a family. It's wonderful.
And they were always the toughest to shoot because basically it would always be like a 5, 6, or 7 hander, And you would get obviously the master, and you have the wide, and then you have to go in for like the various coverage, and they would take all afternoon, and the directors used to hate them. But
I'm sure
Ron was always very dynamic in his shooting style.
Certainly was. Ron, of all the directors, I think had the most unique shooting style, which was it was highly choreographed. Highly, more so than almost anybody I've ever worked with. And I'm a bit of a free spirit. I bristled at it, I got to admit. But in the end, the results were great. He's a fantastic visual director, great at comedy, and he really managed to bring some life into scenes that that required it. He's just
Like, I mean, just the reveal on you guys singing.
Yeah, coffee comes in, and I mean, it's really like dance with him. So fun to do as an actor, but sometimes you're like, oh, just what a bit of freedom to do whatever I want. But that's not your job.
and that was his
to listen to the director. Was that
was his addition? The cream looping in the coffee mug was his kind of nice little visual touch.
I love that scene.
That's great.
The coffee, because I'm such a coffee addict.
Don't you want that for your screensaver now, Nina?
I do. I love
with that music.
With the music, yeah, it's great. I do have to say I did miss something in this episode, though. I missed 6. I think that he was missed in this episode for sure.
Well, he's gone now, right?
Yeah, he's gone.
Is he, Joe? Is he?
Here
I don't know yet.
Well, Joe needed to create that moment with 5 at the table. So
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was such a good over and over and over. I'm like 3. Aww.
I still say
do care.
I still say your best episode is the other one though, with her, the one that you rescue her from the rapists. Oh, sorry, I said the bad word.
You too. No, that was a good. Honestly, 3 and 5, their dynamic really originally I thought, 6 is going to be the dad figure. I'm like, no, I could see like 3 and 5 just hanging out as like a crazy uncle. It seems like a good vibe.
Yeah.
Definitely the crazy uncle.
I think for me anyway, part of what makes the vibe work is I think maybe most parents wish they were 6, like the more correct and
lost him.
Most of us are really a little bit like 3, right? We don't really know what the hell to say when you're facing with your 14-year-old girl who's in tears because of something that happened. You're like, I have flip to page 62 of the parenting book, and I don't know. Like, I don't know is the answer, right? Like, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm just like some big kid with more responsibility, which is kind of all parents are. And I think you nail that, where you nail that, Joe, so perfect.
Absolutely.
See, that's way better than what my method is, because I've been on so many planes.
But they're not, So anyway, I hope you caught all that, because the internet probably went out halfway through. It was very intelligent. I'm positive.
Oh, like I've been on so many airplanes where like there's just a crying baby next to me. I have taken like a parenting method of my own where I just stare them in the eye. Don't say a thing. I'm like, and I don't know what they see in my soul, but they stop. So like that'll be my parenting method.
Spooky axe murderer is what they see.
Add a little eyebrow pop.
Scary.
I got a method to deal with that too. It's called earplugs, and then you just ignore.
Oh well.
That's right. If it's your
I'm just fortunate I had boys. Tough it up, guys. Just tough it up. Suck it up.
Here's an iPad.
NB Geeks, thanks. Dark Matter was the most original thing on sci-fi since BSG. In this geek's opinion, who so loved the story and characters, damn you, space.
Well, it's actually sci-fi. Space Channel actually in Canada was actually very supportive of us. It's actually too bad. I kind of wish, more sci-fi execs would be actual sci-fi fans, but it's not always.
Yes.
Sadly.
Would be nice. Would be nice.
Maybe you need your own network, Joe.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do a GoFundMe for my own network. I will just, $500 million should do it.
No problem.
Start
Thank
getting
you, my
with
friend.
scratchers.
Thank you, Sound Engraver. Guys, if you, by the way, Sound Engraver, you have a wrench. Please go ahead and put in your channel, and NB Geeks as well. Everybody put in your channels. Please sub to anybody in the chat who's putting up their channel, guys. We grow together. Thank you. Sorry.
Oh. I lost you guys. They're back.
Oh
Back.
And Joe, the way the way the assassin just drops through the floor, I thought that was. I don't think any of us expected that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like a fun episode. It was a bit of everything.
Yeah, it was. There was a bit of, and it gets dark. It gets really dark in the end.
I know.
I like that.
I was worried.
Yeah.
Big twist.
Like I get worried when it goes
Shame.
from the tonal shift.
Yeah.
It's almost like a South Korean movie.
Here it is. Oh, he's halfway through. Woo!
Yeah.
Look at that.
Nice.
Nice grab.
Screen capture. Yeah.
Well, if he crosses his arms like he's on a water slide.
That's brilliant, isn't it? He was great. I thought he did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
He was great.
You know, Anthony, the everybody's done these Han Solo parallels with you, and I was just at one point this week, it just dawned on me: wouldn't Anthony be a great young Indiana Jones if they ever needed, to pass the torch?
Yes.
Young.
Ooh.
Young.
Yeah, that's very flattering.
Youngish Indiana Jones.
Youngish. Yeah, that's right. The
Younger than
character,
Harrison
younger.
Ford.
the free character has a bit of that vibe, doesn't he? It's yeah.
The lovable rogue.
Here we go.
Definitely. I would like to see you with a whip. Never mind. I shouldn't have said that.
All of a sudden, the wife comes in background. He's no longer allowed to play with us anymore.
I gotta clip that. We got the underwear issue and the whip.
Oh gosh.
Children.
This is gonna be fun.
No children on this.
So Joe, Time Prophet asks, how did the assassin get on board? Is it by basically
He got
what he's
on
asking?
board when they went to the space station. So after the first few loops, three had been reliving the same day over and over again, and then they ultimately do something different. They end up going to the space station, and that's when Ash is waiting for them and boards the ship. And basically, he boards not through the airlock, but by passing through the walls, which is why he manages to get past the android's detection.
That would be terrifying. Like, what would you see if you were phasing through something? Would you see it all? Would you see nothing? These are the questions that keep me up at night.
I've
That
worried
have
if you
no
need
meaning.
nose plugs so you don't get steel up there,
Oh,
like a water park. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd have to worry about that.
I mean, now he permanently has steel in his nose, so.
Damn.
And we see here that we had the fight between the assassin and Solar.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
the fight
that actually fight went on for quite a while.
It did.
I was actually surprised. It was great, and they're both terrific. And this is
This
like,
made me feel inadequate in my physical strength. Brownie cake. I need to work
last
out
episode
after
was
that.
Solara's introduction, but in this one you kind of see her like literally flex her muscles, which is kind of great, where she kind of steps in and herself is kind of protective of Five and throws down with him.
That was great.
The best thing about Space was Mark Asquith. I agree. I love Mark.
go.
Like in previous episodes, you've mentioned that it's so cold on set. That had to have been cold without a shirt, with just underwear. Like,
Yeah, actually, that set was actually pretty cold, but not as cold as the ship set. Or where were we? Where was the other one? The other stage down the street, in that old warehouse that was raided by the cops in episode 1 of of season 3. What was that? I forget what it was called, but it was cold. It was damn cold. This set, at least the infirmary set, was actually the set that was closest to the production offices. So for that reason, it tended to be a little warmer.
Nice.
And John Burns, thank you, John Burns. He wants to see Anthony as a French-Canadian supervillain.
Bond villain.
That's funny.
Quebec
work.
supervillain. I'd love it. Yeah, that would be fun. You have the accent, and you go around and you be bad to everybody.
Very polite.
Yeah.
So Anthony, also, I mean, you're fluent in French, but you do a fair amount of work in French television as well.
Yeah, I do. In fact, I just landed a series that in French, where for the first time ever, they're shooting this series about Anglophones, where the whole series is a bunch of English people, but living in Quebec, and it's all French. In the townships, actually, the eastern townships, which is really, really cool. I've never seen it. It's a little bit like the inverse Kim's
Convenience.
Convenience in Quebec forever, but they just don't tend to appear on television really, and don't have their own shows at all. So, so this will be kind of fun. This will be a heck of a lot of fun, actually. So.
Are you good?
Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was going to ask, how good are you at other accents? Time Prophet wants to know.
Oh, how good am I? Honestly, not great. It takes me work. Let's put it that way. It takes me work to get them up. Sometimes they work great, and sometimes a little less so. But it's always fun to do it, for sure. Yeah.
And Joe, you have volunteers for a Dark Matter series.
Fantastic. All I have to do is get it picked up. And
that's it. Just a little bit.
Smooth sailing.
Is there anything you can elaborate for Film School Rookie?
No, right now I've got a bunch of things on my plate. But as I said, I mean, my plan is to put together a proposal for a mini-series that, I think, Anthony, you mentioned the fact that any story that would take place now would have to take place with the consideration of a time jump. It couldn't be like, the episode after the last episode we saw. It would have to be an episode that takes place maybe a year or more after the last episode we saw, and sort of how, I already kind of have a door in. But like I said, I need to pitch it, and hopefully before the summer I will pitch it. There's no guarantee, of course, but, I will give it a shot.
All I'm saying is you have an army. We can we can find where the studio is and surround it.
Well, you know what? Actually, better. I'll find out which executive I'm pitching, and then I'll post his name on Twitter.
There we go.
And then dox him.
Oh gosh, I think we would have hurt our chances.
Tom has a good question for you, Anthony. About are you dubbing yourself in French? Or vice versa?
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting question, because there's union rules around that, and the truth is I'm not good enough in French to dub my own stuff because I don't sound like a francophone. But they when I speak French, I sound like an English guy who speaks French well. That's basically it, right? And they have rules. So whenever something that I shoot shows up in French for dubbing, they kind of have to figure out whether or not I can dub it, right? Because I have to get first crack. Do this. Oh, it cut out again.
But we caught the biggest. We caught most of it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
No. You caught some of it anyway. I won't bother repeating it. But the point is, no, I don't do it, largely because I sound like an Anglophone. There it is.
And it's a union thing.
It's a union thing. That's right.
Fun.
Joe, is there and Anthony, you were not involved in Stargate at all, right? In any capacity?
No, not that I can. No, I think I would remember. Although, I mean, Anthony is lives on the East Coast, whereas Stargate shot on the West Coast. So, not to say that we wouldn't cast out of Toronto, but rarely, we usually tended to cast locally, and then when we went out, we usually went out to LA because it's actually closer than Toronto. Whereas for Dark Matter, I shot here on the East Coast, what I call the East Coast, and so I made use of the local talent pool.
Now, did Joe, did Zoe speak French? Or did she learn?
I think I don't know how much French she knew. I think she maybe knew a little bit, but I don't recall.
Regardless, I don't think she really spoke it. I think she spoke it like the average Toronto Anglophone, but she did great. As far as I'm concerned, she really nailed it. So kudos to her.
Anthony, what are some of your favorite roles you've played other than 3?
There's a film called Rouge Sang, which, by the way, I did have to do an accident. I played a British soldier, and it's a feature film that's shot here in Montreal. And it was sort of but I loved it. It was a really wonderful show that was, I think, a real commentary on the English-French. For those of you who know the culture a bit, the English and the French haven't always gotten along so well in Montreal, and it felt like a real comment on that, and I really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed, it's going to sound funny, but the show that I was doing prior to Dark Matter, I was on a show called Good Witch, where it's the cleanest, simplest, no drama show. I mean, literally, like, they'll come up to you if you put too much drama in. They're like, yeah, it's not really like that, this show. It's not really a dramatic show. It's not really a funny show. It's not like, literally, they're like, everything has to be flat. So it's actually really, really, really challenging. And to be honest, I'm kind of I liked it. I just kind of liked acting on that show. I liked the simplicity of the show. I liked the sort of clean messages, put your kids in front of it, put the family in front of it. I really enjoyed that role, which was kind of funny. But yeah, very different than 3 in a way, but not all that different maybe from who I am as a person. So
you just reminded me too that you were briefly like imitating the way the androids spoke in the episode, and you did it very well.
I did? I totally forgot that. When did I do that?
No, it's actually when I think you're talking about the scene where you were predicting what she was going to say.
Yeah.
When basically
right,
you're basically
yeah.
talking at the same
right.
time as her.
Oh,
That's
that's
right.
true. Yeah.
Now, speaking of the Good Witch, you had I think you were booked for the Good Witch when you got Dark Matter, and we had to kind of work around the Good Witch, or we were in first position, and then you were doing guest spots. But the thing is, for that show, you had to be clean shaven.
I did.
And 3 was scruffy. And remember
that was hard.
So they had to sort of create fake scruff for you.
Yes is the short answer to that. But what we had to do is we had to schedule it with at least 3 days so I could start the scruff. Yeah. And then they could paint it and create it. So if you look at the first season, 3's facial hair in the beginning is really quite light, and then it grows towards the end of the of the season. And then in season 2 and 3, it's more like you see it there, because I wasn't on that show at all. But yeah, it was kind of crazy. Yeah.
Now, is there a reason why 3's scar seems to be getting bigger? Like, it seems, I don't know. Is it just me?
We changed the way the scar was made. in the beginning, although the scar was not huge, it left it sort of actually permanently now, semi-permanently actually sort of, I don't know, stained or scarred my face of some sort. There was just something where it reacted with my skin, and so they ended up changing it throughout the course of this season and then the subsequent years. And I think part of it also was a visibility thing. They were trying to ensure that it was visible enough and that it made a statement. Yeah, because if you've seen the comic books, he's a more scarred character in the comic books, and so this was a nod to that without going.
I just figured, maybe he just kept getting hit over and over again, and just.
I did notice it, Katie, because it was getting more predominant, like as the seasons go on. Because in the season 1, it wasn't that noticeable.
No, it wasn't really at all.
Who stabbed him with a knife in the face? My gosh!
Yeah, me and Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Tim McCall, 2 good Canadian actors.
That's right. He'll be on the miniseries. He'll be on the Dark Matter miniseries.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing!
Incredible.
Perfect. With the soundtrack by Celine Dion. There you go. So great.
Boom.
I just watched with my kids. We just watched the what is that? Carpool Karaoke, I think is what it's called, and with Celine Dion, which was actually very funny and very
What?
good.
Celine Dion was on Carpool Karaoke?
You gotta Google
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah. They end with a Titanic moment with him and her in Vegas on some fake pool doing the whole Titanic thing, and everyone's watching. They're like, "What?"
Who does Carpool Karaoke?
I don't know what the guy's name is, but he's very good.
Yeah. Thank you, Katie.
He was in Doctor Who. That's the only reason I know.
He's wonderful, and he sings really well. And yeah. It's cool, man. It's really cool. So I sat my boy down. You know, for those of you who have young boys, they tend to bristle at anything kind of arts like, if it's dance or music or singing or whatever. And you're like, you have an actor for a dad, for Pete's sake. How can you bristle at this? Like the singing and the dancing and the whatever. This is stuff I did, right? Like we all did this stuff when we were younger. But in the end, so you watch a guy like him, and he's doing this really great job. He's got a great voice. Like he nails it. He does these duets with everybody, and he holds his own, man. Like he can really do it.
He does.
He's funny, and he's great. And I'm like, look, there's a dude right there who's like singing, making a living, doing really cool things with his voice. Doesn't make a difference.
No.
I know, it's so funny.
Show his net worth, and then
that's totally it.
Joe, regards to a miniseries, is there any actor, without mentioning anybody, are there any actors you would want to bring in just for the miniseries that you would have in mind?
No, I mean, basically, first and foremost, it would be I want to kind of service my main cast, and so they would be the ones that the miniseries would revolve around. And the guest stars, I don't even know, because basically there are guest stars that I would bring back before bringing in anyone new, like Tori and Ennis and a bunch of them.
Cool.
And Joe, of course, always provides us with some behind the scenes pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And here we go. We have let's see.
Oh, I had a question while you pull up that picture. When 3 stumbles out of his room with that bottle of whiskey, was that from your collection? They just go upstairs and just grab him and be like, all right, this will look good on camera. Here you go.
I think that was a Mallozzi brand whiskey bottle. I know that Victoria designed a whiskey bottle with my face on it, which I thought was fantastic.
That's great. Really?
Oh
wow.
my gosh. I thought it was Jack Daniels.
No.
Where can we get that?
This is the mess room scenes. So basically every, usually we would start in the mess a lot of the times in the morning. Everybody would come in with their sides. Those are the little pages they're holding.
Yep.
Those chairs look
the life of television actor is wonderful, huh?
Yeah. How comfortable were those chairs, Anthony?
I loved them. They were actually surprisingly comfortable. Yeah, they were well formed to the body. Yeah, at least to my body. It was really great. Yeah, there's Ron. There's Ron Murphy. For those of you who don't know him, in the background, orchestrating, puppet mastering, really great.
Joe, when you're filming
The
television,
that's fantastic. Yeah.
when you're filming a series, how often do you have off days of somebody just is not hitting their lines or is not remembering or things are not just clicking for some reason?
It rarely ever happens. I mean, basically there are times where I have bloopers where they'll maybe drop a line or miss a line here or there, but I mean, it's never an issue where it's going to cost you a day or anything. Or I've never been, on a production where that has happened.
Tends to happen. I mean, television shoots pretty fast. First off, so it's not like this is the scene we're shooting for today, and if we don't get the lines for this one scene, we're pooched. It tends to be, and from an actor's perspective, sometimes it's just a scene, right? You're just a human, right? It's like an off game for a goaltender where, a great goaltender lets in 6 goals and it sucks, right? You don't ever want that to happen. But sometimes the lines just don't come out, right? Like it literally is just that. You wish they would, right? You memorize them or you didn't, or you wished you could memorize them, but you were up all the night before with your kids and they were screaming because they were sick. And then you woke up, you come to the set and you're like, So, life gets in the way. But in the end, I don't think it was really an issue that much. Not even for Zoe, who had, actually there was one. I remember one scene in the entire three seasons. We were on the bridge somewhere, and Zoe was just like, "I'm done. I can't. I got nothing." Do you remember that one? Were you there for that one?
No. What was that one? What was?
I can't. I can't remember which season it was, but she just couldn't get her. I mean, which is surprising because she got every other time perfect, and her lines were a mouthful. But there was one, she was getting fed the lines because she couldn't do anything about it, right? I mean, it was really like, let's go, just give me the line, one line, go, next line, and it was like literally that kind of thing. But for that to only happen in one scene for 3,
yeah, and she had a lot of like the kind of the techno babble lines that always prove very challenging in sci-fi.
Yeah.
There's the guy with the hat.
Yeah.
The hat.
Yes, there's a cameraman with the hat. That's right.
Exactly. You betcha.
Oh, that's
Anthony
amazing.
would appropriate.
That I appropriate. Yeah.
Now, did you give it back at the end?
I kept it. Sold it on eBay.
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Oh, yes.
Oh my
Joe.
gosh.
Look at Joe.
Dang.
Yeah, I already take pictures of me behind the scenes, but this I think was Robbie David, our line producer. We were shooting the GNN sequences. We brought in, you'll see him, Ross Hull, who's an actor who I worked with on one of my first live action series, a teen sitcom called Student Bodies.
Yes, I love that show.
Yeah, and he's a news anchor for the Weather Channel. And as I said, whenever we do these news anchor scenes, we've learned our lesson to actually cast real anchors for the scenes, because more often than not, they do a much better job than actors for some reason. I don't know. It's a completely different game.
Well,
Now,
I recently tried to
there's
shoot my
a Bond
shot
villain
with,
right there. There's a Bond villain right there.
Well, I
Absolutely.
recently tried to shoot my shot with this new movie with Alec Baldwin called Supercell, that reading the description, I know they aren't meteorologists. And so on Twitter, I'm just like, hey, I'll do this and just bring me in. I want this to be good. I need a good weather movie. Since I was born that we haven't had a good one. So yeah, if you happen to know anyone on this film called Supercell, plug.
Oh, okay.
They're filming in Montana and they're paying people $8 an hour to be an extra, which is below the minimum wage of the state of Montana.
Oh, wow.
It's really messed
Uh-oh.
up. Yeah, but Montana, pretty.
So
yeah.
what I love about this scene, okay, besides Anthony sort of very relaxed, perusing his signs, is Jesse in the back, who's a member of the crew. We had to move the that med display out of the way So he is substituting for the med display, and his arms are the med display branches, and his hands are the monitors.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that's brilliant.
He's a prop.
Yes.
And Jeff Beeler says, Anthony, you were 19.2, so how come no letter Kenny?
It's a good question. I have to talk to Jared about that one. I don't know. It was shot not in this province. First off, it was shot out in Toronto, and often that type of thing happens. But the truth is, I don't know Jared that well. I shot on his show, but didn't shoot with him really. I don't think we had a single scene with Jared. I met him in the makeup trailer sometimes when we were coming and going. So although I was on that show for I think about 9 episodes. No, I did have scenes. Oh, I did have scenes with him actually. Yep. Now that I'm remembering it back, I did have scenes with him. So you have to go talk to him about that one. I don't know. We didn't become buds. Let's put it that way. We did have scenes, but I shot a lot of scenes with a Montreal actor who was also on Sophie. That's who I hung out with most on that show. But Letterkenny, great show. Yeah, great show. Really, really funny, and they nailed the whole Ontario country vibe. They really, really did. So it's very, very funny. So kudos to him.
Check it out.
Yep.
Absolutely. And she looks very different here, Joe.
Yeah. I mean, this is our future look android. So yeah, definitely
Dark universe.
Darker,
android.
yes. Dark universe android.
She needs a tan.
Her eyes, like, is all sorts of messed up.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't go with this future. As far as I know, I could be living in ignorance, not knowing the rest of the season. But I'm glad that this isn't, hopefully, the end all. Maybe.
And thank you, Michael. To Joe and to Anthony, how was it like working with Will Wheaton? Asks Michael.
Sure, it was great. It was great. I was letting place go in there for you to pop in there, Joe, if you want to go first. But it was cool. I mean, come on. I used to watch that, the show you saw when I was a kid. It was like really cool, right? It's neat to see people that you, from before I was even an actor. I used to watch him. So it's neat to see. Him work, and I thought he was great. He did a really fantastic, creepy job. He was awesome.
Yes, he was great as kind of the creepy villain.
Creepers. Yeah, I mean, really.
He's also a big bourbon aficionado. Which, I discovered when he came and visited us in the production offices. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, real nice guy. Really wonderful. And seemed pretty down with the show he was on. Sometimes you get stars who come in and not on our show, but who I've definitely been on shows where there's a bit of a thing sometimes. It's a Canadian show, right? And if you get the big American star in who's doing this for the money or doing this for whatever reason, sometimes it can be weird. Sometimes there's a weirdness, but we got lucky on this show. There wasn't any of that. We had some really cool, awesome guest stars come in, including the woman from Run Lola Run, which was another one of those awesome moments where you're like, Yahoo! Look at this. This is great.
Oh my God, that's the guy from Student Bodies.
Yeah, there he is in the middle. There's Ross, and over on the left in green is Robbie David, line producer. He's not a line producer, but he's our unit manager, now a line producer. And
that's awesome.
It's a nice shot.
You guys could totally be the most chaotic news production staff I've ever seen.
It's convincing.
Huh? 2 was a great show.
It is.
Yeah. Another little known fact, perhaps about 19.2, since we're on this Montreal vibe thing, is that 19.2 was originally a French show first, and very different. I mean, French TV, they seem to allow more things than network English television does, and so it was a different feeling show, but same basic premise, and was a massive hit here in Montreal. And so then they spun it off into the English version, which doesn't always work. They did it with a show called Rumors as well. It sort of didn't work, and then Sophie sort of half worked it, but 19.2 knocked it out of the park. So.
By more things, do you mean nudity? Because that would make sense.
I mean, yeah, nudity, but also, language and storylines, and they can push. They don't have the same types of inhibitions. They have different inhibitions. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's just a different culture. So yeah, they can get away with different things on network television.
Anthony, a lot of the fans ask this, especially during COVID and stuff like that. Like, what do you do to stay in shape?
I'm not sure that I look like I work out a lot. If you've watched all of the seasons of Dark Matter, there's a couple little shirtless scenes, and yeah, okay, fair enough. But I will answer the question. What do I do? Clearly there's no gyms. Believe it or not, walking is just one of the things I like to do. I've always liked to walk, and so I walk a heck of a lot. I'm not a massive gym hound. I don't love that. It turns out that I guess a lot of folks have discovered during COVID that you don't actually need to go to the gym an hour and a half at a time. You can actually, I have weights around the house, and I'll just, hey, it's weight time, go, and you do, a few reps of that and put it down. Or sometimes when I'm playing with my boy, we play a game called Civilization. For those of you who are computer guys, we play that one. And so I'll just have the weights there, and I'll just play, lift some weights while playing the game. And I find it hard to find the time to stand in a gym. It's not my favorite thing to do. Although, to be honest, I do miss them. I tend to go when I do gym stuff. I'll do it 3-4 months, and then I'll just take a break for 6 or 7, and then go back 3-4 months. But I could be far more assiduous.
I mean, you're probably doing better than having a melting brownie cake sitting by you in plain view of your computer screen. So that's probably a nice start.
The best, the brownies with the Smarties, and come on, man, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
Too bad you can't share that through the screens like Willy Wonka.
I know.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
This is not going to end well for me.
Joe, several people have asked this question in the past. Has Joe done any acting himself?
I appeared in one scene of a Stargate SG-1, I think season 4. I play I think the episode was Wormhole Extreme, and I play a member of the production crew who asks, hey, what happened to all the donuts? That was my line.
Perfect. That's perfect.
That's hilarious.
Is that on YouTube? Is it online?
I'm sure you'll find it somewhere. Sure.
Hey, what happened? Somebody please search that up and send it in. Hey, what happened to all the donuts?
Hey, what happened to all the donuts? So this is interesting. I mean, basically you have this beautiful sort of intimate moment, and sort of when you kind of actually pull back and you see the the work that kind of goes into it. You guys got to hit your marks. You've got I think that runner's there is to keep from slippage. Yep. I guess.
Yeah, I think it's probably sound because she's in high heels. I bet it's that too. Yeah. It's usually the sound guys, but probably slippage too. Who knows? Yeah. This was a lovely set. I really enjoyed this set. It is a weird thing, being an actor. This idea that these awfully intimate moments happen within 2 feet of, depending what lens they're on. If they're on a wide lens, they literally happen within 2 to 3 feet of this massive wall of people who are standing there. It's a bit of a bizarre kind of thing, but fun. That's for sure.
Movie magic, yeah.
Yeah. And if you just pulled out a tiny little bit, then you would have seen all the rest of the craziness, all the cameras, booms, whatever else.
Every kind of looming over you.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful set, though. Was that just all interior? Did you have to go to location for it, or just build it?
That was actually built by a production designer. Oh, I did not even see this.
Thank you, Rapunzel, for sharing this.
Oh my God, there she is.
Oh.
She does play.
She's playing the ukulele.
Oh my gosh, she has such amazing hair.
Yeah.
I can't hear what she's saying.
Actually, let me share it.
Nope.
It's not something to talk about publicly. Probably for the same reasons that a lot of people don't. Some notions in my head that
she was talking before we heard. She was talking about anxiety.
Okay.
That's a very relatable topic.
It makes me incapable of just getting through it. But that's not true. And I think it's important to share about it, to talk about it, to find healthy ways to manage it.
Well, I'm gonna, the video's there, and I'll link it. Thank you for sharing that.
I know a lot of people who during the pandemic picked up a smaller instrument, something that you can get for like $30 on Amazon. The ukulele was right there because it helps with the isolation. So totally, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
not
gonna
that
get
talented.
myself one. Just sit there and be like,
Look at these two. Little downtime between setups, learning their lines.
Aw.
Yep.
Our
I
Marauder set.
knew that I had been out of theater.
Out of theater.
Oh, we lost him.
When I went to see a buddy of mine who was in a show called Elizabeth Rex, and I left, and the first thing on my mind was, how the hell do they memorize all those lines? And I'm like, that's it. Now I'm officially like every high school audience ever. How do you remember those lines? Because that is how you spend your life as a television actor right there. What is it? It's all right, let's go. It's a very different set of muscles for sure.
Oh, wow.
COVID is terrible here in Alberta. How is it in Ontario and in Quebec? Joe, how is it in Ontario?
It's equally bad here in Ontario.
Have you continued to revolt like your bad influence of American underwear, as my friend put it? Apparently, I have a friend in Canada who refers to the U.S. as Canada's underwear. And we were having a conversation of people who were going and getting baby clothes at Walmart, even though it's not allowed. I was like, oh, we've been a bad influence on you guys. Breaking the rules.
To be honest with you, I keep on saying people are like, how are you holding out? And I'm holding out perfectly fine. I'm a writer. I work from home most of the time. My wife is thrilled, and my dog is thrilled to have me there here full time. So all good.
Oh my goodness.
Look at this handsome fella, by the way.
I love the socks.
Oh, I forgot about
The socks are amazing.
Were those your socks, Anthony, or were those wardrobe socks?
Yeah, that's my Bill Murray moment right there.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah. I think we should just spin off this episode, Joe. Forget about it.
Just do like the time.
It never ended.
Time loop series. The entire thing's a time loop.
Oh man!
Look at you and Misha yucking it up while Jodelle in the background, nose in a book.
Yeah,
typical.
That's right.
Typical.
Nose in a book. This is actually pretty typical. I loved working with Misha. He was fantastic. He really was a wonderful person. So much fun to be around. So. Yeah.
He also guested in The Boys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he did. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I still have to watch that show.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many shows on my list.
I know, me too, Katie.
Joe, what was it about Anthony that made you pick him for Marcus? John asks.
His audition. So I had 9 scripts ready to go before we even started production on the first season. So I was able to pick up my favorite scenes for each character. And I think one of the scenes for Anthony was that scene in episode 4 where he's 3 and 1 are tied up back to back. And it requires a certain sort of repartee and a sense of humor and delivery. And I was going to swear, but he nailed it. I mean, absolutely was just, I remember seeing the audition and it was like, that's it. It's basic. It's game over. Usually you have like 3 choices, your top 3. So that basically when you bring them in and then people, everybody discusses and who's your favorite. And then you have like chemistry reads and then you go out to people and you try to sort of close a deal. But after his audition, he was like the only one where basically we're like, that's him. He's 3. we have to go through the motions of sort of the second round. But and it's funny because I remember telling Anthony that, and he's like, shit, I wish my agent knew that before we went into negotiations.
Although from my side, the when I read that script in the sides, I'm like, I can do this, but because it wasn't described exactly the way I played. At least there's, for those of you who are a little less aware of how it all works, there's an intermediary in between us, right? In fact, there's a couple intermediaries in between me and Joe when this happens, right? There's the agents and the casting directors. And the casting directors, I just didn't want to get in front of a casting director because I looked at this and I'm like, I can do this, but it's not exactly the way the casting director described it on their breakdowns, because they're the ones who write the breakdowns. And I'm like, so I'm not going in for this. And this was, tapes itself, tapes and all the rest of this stuff was essentially far enough along that I could do this. So I made up some story about why I couldn't make it in for the audition. Complete BS, just so that I could do it my way, and the casting director wouldn't say, no, actually, no, he's more of a hard ass. I'm like, no, that's not what I can bring. I can't bring that. I can't bring what it is you want me to do, but I can bring this, because I think this is better for the character. So I made up some story, didn't go in, and then I got called back, Joe said, and it was the same thing. They're like, yeah, they'd like to see you, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going in. I don't want to have anyone to say anything over this character. Because it happens. You get in the audition room and they're like, well, can you try this? Can you try that? And all of a sudden you're like, no, that's not it. This is what the character is. I'm sending you this character and that's all you get. And if I don't get the part, fine, you can go with someone else. But yeah, I've rarely done that. I've rarely said, no, absolutely not. I know exactly who this character is. I don't want to see
like
it.
what, from a personal development point of view, Anthony, I really like that, because if you're trying to just appease other people, then you're maybe not doing your best. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. It's that the casting directors have they have an important role to play. I'm not saying they don't. It's just that sometimes they don't. They've got something in their mind, and it's a bit of a telephone game, right? The producer says, "Oh, I'm looking for this," whatever it is, right? And then by the time it gets to you, this might be something different than what the producer really wants. And in the end, you can only ever bring what you can bring anyway. So if they really wanted a super hard ass tough guy, they probably weren't going to hire me.
Yeah, and we did not. I needed someone with a sense of humor. So to wit, here's like I said, the great scene. And there's Josh, our first AD.
Yeah.
And so that's how we would shoot. I mean, basically these walls were wild, and you would pull out the walls and shoot this way, and then put the flat back in, and you'd shoot the other way. And
God, I miss this. Yeah. Really miss this show. Really miss this character.
And Anthony, you said last time about the stage fighting experience, you said that John Stead helped you a lot, right?
Yeah, I know that there was a question there for those of you who heard the last time out with John Stead. I mean, yeah, I did I have much? Yeah, I guess I've been lucky enough to do a fair amount of sort of action related kind of stuff. And John Stead, our fight coordinator in this, I met him before I was an actor back in university. He came in and he taught a stage combat class for us. I went to a school in Waterloo, Ontario, and he was the fight choreographer over at Stratford, the Shakespeare Festival. And so he was able to it's about 40 minutes away. He was able to just come in and teach all us rookie noobs fight choreography. So he did that. And then, yeah, throughout my life, I've been able to do a fair number of things with stunts. So it's been fun. But to be honest, I did a whole heck of a lot less in this one than I would have done when I was in my 20s. Alex was like, I want to do it all, which is, of course, exactly what I want to do in my 20s. But, now that I got kids and whatever else, and you got a stunt guy there who also has kids, you're like, no, give him a job, plus save my back. He's the guy who can do it, so that, I didn't do as much of it as I might have done a few years ago.
Do you want to comment on the Fort Henry Guard Drill Squad reenactors?
Yeah. Do I want to comment on it? Yeah, sure. Listen, for those of you who don't know Canadian history all that well, Fort Henry is an old British military fort built around the early 1800s. And we had a war between Canada and America back in 1812 that we say we won and they say they won. Although we're the only nation to have burned Washington. Okay, so just want to let you guys know that one. So anyway, they built this large
Didn't
fort.
it get saved because of a tornado? Washington,
What?
D.C., there
I
was a
don't know this
tornado
one.
that came through. Yes. So, fun fact, when you burned the White House and all the stuff in Washington, a storm came through and it actually produced a tornado, but the rain actually put out the fires.
What? This? See, they
That's
never
all I
taught
can
this
contribute.
to us.
Continue.
That's awesome. Now we have
That's
to make an 1812
hilarious.
war movie. Are you kidding me? Come on, Joe. That's a flashback episode right there. Anyway, so Fort Henry is this really cool reenacting thing where during my university years, I ended up working at, and they do all historic drill, right? But it was run by the military at the time. So, you know, an old sergeant major from the military, because it's actually on a military base. Oh, look at that, those abs. Well, it's more the pecs, actually, in this particular case, huh?
You got the crotch.
So yeah, that was that. Very
crotch.
cool
Oh my
throughout
God.
my university days. And now we'll move on to pecs.
Oh my goodness.
There should be a subtitle.
Oh my
No
God.
actors were actually harmed in this making
Yeah,
this episode.
Joe
I
looks
wanna
so
know how they
happy.
made that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Should have kept
That's
that piece
right.
of wall. Should have
What
kept
did
it.
happen to that wall? Was it like
You don't have it?
Where is
I
it?
don't
Did it
know.
get trashed, thrown in the garbage? It's in
I imagine. I mean, basically,
somewhere.
most of like the bigger stuff got trashed, and I mean, I remember actually bringing back this giant Galactic Authority, it was like wood and metal emblem that must have weighed at least 100 pounds, and my wife is like, seriously, where are you going to put
This
that?
one?
It's in
This is what you're
storage.
keeping?
Yeah.
Joe, if you do get a season 4, are you gonna have to remake this because it's part of the ship?
We may not necessarily go down that corridor. I mean, basically, where the fight takes place is in one of the lower level corridors.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to feature like every episode.
Which was
Okay.
Whoops.
Oh, we lost you there, Anthony. You said which was?
oh, I know. It was all one corridor, essentially.
Yes. And we would just redress and relight.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Zoe
Yeah.
Space
jamming.
I mean, really, what was this website where the guy is building a space ukulele? What's that all about, Joe? Do you remember
No,
what he was doing other than that?
it was you know, Ian sourced it, and it was a guy online that designed a space ukulele, and Ian asked him if he could feature it, and I think someone on Twitter actually has posted it on Twitter.
I mean, how cool is that? Did he design other space instruments, or was it just space ukuleles?
I don't know.
Huh?
Juan Carlos Noguera, new 3D printable ukulele.
Wow. Well,
Oh,
very cool.
that's
Space
nice.
It
ukulele.
is very cool. Yeah, I'm sure he's done other stuff. Crossbows. Really cool, kind of like looking instruments. You can find it actually online. Who posted it? Jeffrey Tullypope at Tullypope. Jeffrey Team Raza.
Oh, that
look
is
at you guys.
cool looking.
That's a fun shot.
Oh,
Look
I
at
see
you
a
guys.
cosplay in my future.
Look at you guys.
It's very nice.
Aw.
So cute.
I think that's
No,
one of the
I
reasons
mean,
why the
I'm gonna tear up here. This
Show
is
has a
horrible. They didn't burn
family
everything in
vibe. It seems
Washington.
like you guys.
Aw.
There it is. I love it, John Burns. Awesome. Thank you for the history lesson.
This is,
No, they didn't burn everything.
I've been posting bloopers, and who was it who responded first? Was it you or Melissa that responded to the blooper? I think you did, and then Melissa was like, "I miss you,"
Yeah.
or something in a recent tweet.
Yeah.
To
Aw.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a nice relationship. So it's the tough thing about acting. It's a bit of the summer camp thing, right? You meet someone in summer camp, you go, I like it, so much fun, and then you take off and go off to your separate worlds, and that's that. That's acting. So it's tough. It's tough to stay in touch with folks, especially when you live in Montreal, because you know there's not a lot of people who live in Montreal. So,
Joe, what are the regarding Anthony's comment? What are the logistics of getting people back together for the miniseries?
Yeah, it would really just be scheduling.
Schedule.
Yeah.
But likely doable, right?
I mean, we find ways to do it. And basically, if we do it with the schedule, or I could, make changes to the script. But, I've spoken to all the cast. Everyone's game. If we can get that green light, we're good to go.
So where does the green light come from, Joe? Where in your mind?
To be honest with you?
Yeah.
What I would have to do is put together a pitch and pitch Netflix, because Netflix owns the rights to those first 3 seasons. And I think they will have them for the next little while. And the reason Netflix didn't pick up the 4th season is because, as I keep pointing out, they're a subscription-driven model, and they already had in their mind the Dark Matter subscribers. I would argue that was entirely true, that a lot of people watch it on Sci-Fi Channel and would have migrated over. But I think enough time has passed that I could, give it another shot.
There it is. Do they hold the rights in perpetuity?
No. I think they have a 3 to 5 year window for those first 3 seasons.
And then they revert to whom?
Then they revert back to Prodigy Pictures, Jay Firestone, who can sell them to whoever.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how long.
I love it. This is great. The what is that, like a drywall?
Sort of they even put a little bandage on his face.
That's so great.
That's
So
funny.
great. Yeah.
Now, I must point out, I have a friend who's watching, who's also a meteorologist. We're like a rack. She can't get rid of us. They said, and I quote, "It was 100 degrees that day. They had no idea what was coming. The Americans knew. We hid. They left." That's apparently the summary of the event.
I love it. I love it. Listen, we got to now write a movie. Come on,
Cheers.
Joe. Come on.
Oh my
Burning of
gosh.
Washington. Anyway, it was the Brits. Anyway, we're in our own country, so.
Yeah.
Speaking of time loop episodes and Netflix, Joe, have you seen that Russian doll series on Netflix?
Yeah.
How did you like that?
Huh? Sorry, you're breaking up.
How did you like?
I can't. No.
Oh,
You're breaking
he's
up.
not commenting. Okay, he's being all secretive now. Okay.
Thank you,
I
John
love
Burns,
that.
getting the miniseries done by hook or by crook. Yeah. So, Joe, is there a letter campaign or some kind of online campaign the fans should be focused on, or not? Yeah.
Not at the moment. I just need to sort of, assemble my pitch and take it to Netflix is what I got to do.
I still say that human fence encasing whoever you're pitching to is quite the persuasive argument.
Yeah, I would agree.
Joe, this is actually a really good question regarding distribution for Netflix. Did you have any say in dubbing?
I have absolutely no say in dubbing. That is up to the individual territories and their broadcasters. So they're the ones who dub the shows.
Dubbing is a
Sherman
weird thing, isn't it?
I
Like, it's
gotta go
really
back
weird.
and watch them on a different.
Yeah.
You were saying,
do you ever
Anthony?
go back, Anthony, and watch? Oh, sorry.
Go
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Katie.
Well, do you ever go back and
Cutting.
watch a show that you were part of and listen to the other dubs and see if the voice actor sounds anything like you?
No. In short, I don't have access. I mean, I haven't sought out like the German version, say, of Dark Matter, but every once in a while I do hear. It is kind of funny, and I think for Dark Matter I've actually come across it, and they tend to really get on the gravelly side, and they get the gravelly vibe. But what I've noticed, at least in the scenes that I've seen, is that they haven't got, because 3 isn't always gravelly. 3 is gravelly when he's angry, or when he's in that mode. But then he's completely not gravelly. When he's in whatever dad mode or romantic mode, then the voice comes up of whatever. And I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the adjust because it is easy to sort of jump into that voice right there, But anyway, that's just who knows. Listen, I can tell you that dubbing, having auditioned to dub my own voice in French, it is frigging impossible. Like, respect to these guys who do it. I hate it. I think the result is garbage, no matter how good they are. I think it's largely because they don't have any time at all. They do it in literally zero time. There's a scroll going along, and it's essentially they have to do it faster than I do ADR, and they got to nail it, and they got to just be like, and they go straight through it, and it's super cheap. And in the end, it's very hard to do. So kudos to those guys for being able to do it. And on the whole, there are dubbing actors in countries where they dub. There are dubbing actors because the rest of us just can't do it. It is that hard. It's a totally separate skill set. Yep.
And Joe, you kind of answered this question. I think that there's a lot of enthusiasm, especially among our community and media community. I guess there's a lot of people just letting you know that we're ready.
Appreciate that. I will let you know.
We have no lives.
Damn the hell out of them. That's great.
Oh no,
Anthony, any updates on what you're doing? Anything you want to get out there?
Is that me freezing again?
No, this is Katie.
That's Katie.
Oh, somebody else freezing. Oh my God! Repeat all this. I got a show coming up. I got two series and a movie coming up that I'm just jump back into.
Oh no!
Now you have frozen.
To my own develop. Now you missed all that, right?
Repeat it. Repeat it real quick.
I'm gonna repeat it. I just jumped back into acting, so this summer's pretty busy. I am no longer at the law firm that I was at. I jumped back into the development company that I'd started about 5 years ago. So I'm doing that plus the acting stuff. So there's 2 series I'm shooting on, one in French, one in English, and a movie as well. 2 of them are here in Montreal, and then one of them's out of Toronto. And more about stay tuned on that one as we get closer. But until things actually start shooting, I like to keep it a little on the QT.
So you're not practicing law right now, then?
There's 2 of me now.
Oh, look at that!
My computer overheated and died. So.
Oh.
Hi.
What? Overheated?
Yeah, it literally just said it's too hot, can't work, and then just died. So, R.I.P.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
well. So Anthony, just to be clear, you're no longer practicing law right now? That's
correct. Okay. I'm no longer working at a private law firm. I work for my own company, and there's law within that. It's a development company that works on properties largely out of Ontario. But then I also, because it's my own company, I can take time off.
Nice.
Can you tell us anything about your upcoming projects? Meaning, like, are they sci-fi?
You lost that one again.
Oh no!
You lost that one again, didn't you? Everything froze. I could see it all freezing over here.
Oh no!
Are you there? Everyone else is frozen. Anyway.
Hello.
Good. So I'm not sure what of that you heard, but stay tuned. And yes, there is upcoming stuff there.
No, we heard it, Anthony. I was just asking if you can at least tell us if it's like sci-fi or anything, or comedy, or drama.
None of it is sci-fi. Unfortunately, I love sci-fi, but none of this is sci-fi.
He refuses to do sci-fi unless it's with me.
Unless it's dark matter. Okay, gotcha.
There you go.
Good job.
The word must have gotten out.
Would you like to add any final comments, Joe?
No, I mean, this is like one of my favorite episodes. It actually turned out really well. I mean, I didn't be very hard on my own episodes, but this one turned out pretty good for an episode I basically wrote in a day. And it's all thanks to the performances led by this man over here. As you know, I'm a big fan, so hopefully we get to do it again someday.
Someday, that's right.
Yes.
I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody who has joined us in the chat. I want to thank Anthony. I want to thank Joe and the panel. And ADEGA stepped out. Thank you, ADEGA. And Katie's been in and out of it, so she's.
There you are.
There she's back.
Thank you really quickly. Thank you, John Burns. Yes, in Spanish, dark matter is tragically romantic. That's absolutely right. And thank you, Rob, as well. Wanted to say to Anthony that you changed my mind about 3. I didn't like him at first. The way you portrayed him totally won me over. Just great acting.
Apparently, nobody liked him at first.
I liked him.
That's also great writing. Thank you for the compliment, but if it's not on the page, it ain't on the stage.
Oh, thanks.
And with that, on that note, we will say goodbye to everybody. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Joe. Thank you,
Thanks,
Nina, ADEGA, and Katie. Thank you, Susanna, Nate, Tony, Nora, William, Emilio, Rob, Susanna, John Burns, Sound Engraver, Tracy, everybody who's been in here, Sarah Jett, and Tom Gardner. By the way, thank you to Katie, Tom, and Gap for the previews they've been making. They were fabulous. Thank you, and we will see you guys next week for episode 5, God willing.
See you.
Woo!